Welcome to Little Bighorn Treasure Hunting Sources 14. Today I'm going to show you some more of the trapdoor carbines that were used at the Little Bighorn. And the first one, we're going to start with a rifle. And according to Wendell's book, documenting the weapons used at the Little Bighorn, the cavalry was issued the long rifle for long-range shooting, and they actually had target shooting championships to see who the best shots were, and then they were issued to them. They were in 45-70, whereas the saddle ring carbines were 45-55. The 70 and the 55 are the amount of grains of black powder charges that were in each cartridge. Now, this one, I've been looking for a rifle for some time, and I just recently purchased it. I don't have a letter from Wendell on it yet. I haven't been able to get him to write anything, but from his Togia book, I see the word bull. I told you there's sometimes more than one symbol for the same word. This is out of his Togia book. Here you can see it plain as day on the rifle, and the serial number on this particular rifle is 12,094, and in his book you see that there is a 12,000 serial range, and that the 7th Cavalry was issued one in 7,000 range and then another one later in the 50,000. So there's several different possibilities on these. Now, this particular gun here, I noticed on the other side before purchasing it, the word bear. You see the 5 dots. And there seems to be other writing everywhere else on this piece. So I do believe it's a good possibility that this was used there. Now, coming over here to this carbine, this one is serial number 29503, and if you look at the chart that we just showed you on the documenting the weapons used at the Little Bighorn, this gun here, I believe, could have been restocked, but once again, without Wendell looking at it, I just can't say for sure. But what makes me think so is underneath, if you look, there's the 7 and a rack number also there, and then if you come in front of the trigger guard, there's a B for company B. So I think this could have been used there, got damaged, and then immediately upon return to Fort Abraham Lincoln was restocked. And if you notice here on the hammer, it has a later hammer, so this whole lock plate could have been changed, and maybe even the trigger and the trigger guard, but yet the barreled action appears to be the original configuration because it doesn't have the condition of the rest of it. So that's my belief, but I can't say positively, but it is a correct gun in all configuration for those used at the Little Bighorn. Next, we have a trapdoor carbine that was used at the Little Bighorn. This one's serial number 17653, 17,653. And the letter on this, on the report, says, during my examination of serial number 17653, a 1873 Springfield trapdoor carbine, I found the name One Horn Cheyenne written in Togia 4 times on the left side of the stock, along with the symbol of the Council of 44 Chiefs. Now, I've said before, the Council of 44 were all Cheyenne chiefs, and no decision was made without going first through the Council of 44. And there you can see the mark of the Council of 44, which I will show you later on other pieces as well. And it says, I found the following Togia message: One Horn Cheyenne Council 44, kill plenty soldier, which is shown on illustration 2. On the right wrist is shown on illustration 3. I found the English letters AK Company 7E, next to One Horn Cheyenne. I believe these English letters are the initials of Andrew Connect, Company E, 7th Cavalry. I found another Togia message on the left forend which states, One Horn, Cheyenne, Kill Soldier, Little Sheep's Creek, as shown on illustration 4. On the top of the stock, I found the English letters CHH, which I believe are the initials of Charles H. Hollington, also of the 7th Cavalry. One Horn was a Northern Cheyenne. His birth date was unknown. One Horn rode with Two Moon at the Little Bighorn and fought against Company E of the 7th Cavalry. I believe he took this carbine from Andrew Connect after killing him. A short time later, some of the Sioux women took all of Connect's clothing and cut off his penis and stuffed it in his mouth. 2 days after the battle, he was found in this condition near the deep ravine at the base of the Last Stand Hill by the burial crew. I believe this carbine was originally issued to Charles Hottling when he joined the 7th Cavalry and assigned to Company E, but it was reissued to Connect after Hottling was transferred to Company D, which is why both men's initials are on the gun. Several other Cheyenne warriors took Springfield trapdoor carbines from Company E, soldiers with close serial numbers to this one. John Two Moon took 17940, Young Two Moon 17485, Sleeping Rabbit 17436, Lame White Man took 17660. 4 other carbines were documented to be turned in during the Northern Cheyenne surrender, which include 17425, 17497, 17761, and 17550. One Horn was replaced on the Cheyenne Reservation in present-day Montana after his surrender. Now, Wendell told me of a family story that One Horn, as they were pushing Custer soldiers back from the river, that there was a very heavy-set soldier who was sweating profusely and breathing hard, and he was backing up, and he was firing his Springfield trapdoor carbine. Well, he couldn't get the shell to eject, or for some reason, One Horn saw him throw it to the ground, and as they were retreating, One Horn went up and he picked up that carbine. Later, when they were stripping the soldiers and the squaws were all up there, there was one soldier who was playing dead as the women were stripping him, and he all of a sudden jumped up and started fighting with the squaws, and another squaw came up behind him and killed him with a knife. And they all were laughing about it because he had been playing dead until the squaws were going to try and mutilate him, I guess. Also, in the book Custer's Fall, on page 153 to 154, it says, the stench of blood was strong and still in the air. While warriors stripped the uniforms from the dead soldiers, several mounted Indians with lances rode around, jabbing their spear points into the left thighs of the naked bodies. In this fashion, the fallen enemies were officially counted dead. Here and there along the ridge, warriors were administering the final coup de grace by firing the soldiers' own pistols at their heads at point-blank range. 2 fat old women were laughing as they stripped a wounded soldier. Once he was naked, they started to cut off his genitals with their knives. Suddenly, inexplicably, he was on his feet. Convulsively, he lunged at his tormentors. A third woman heard her companion shouting for help and ran up to shove her own knife in the soldier, killing him at last. Warriors all around laughed loud and long to see the soldier playing dead, then trying to fight the 2 fat women. Now, I believe that this is the carbine from Andrew Connect, who was playing dead and found later with his genitals removed and shoved in his mouth. So that's the end of this story. It was kind of a gruesome one, but I hope you enjoyed it. God bless.